Alright guys, welcome back to Marvel Ultimate Alliance. It is July 8th?
Okay, who's next?
And Ant-Man and the Wasp is now out in theaters. And it's been a little while since I did my last, video. Sorry, I'm kind of stuck watching. There we go. That's the way to get rid of that stupid stun feature. But last time we left the ice giant Izmir in death,
Everyone all right?
and now we are continuing our pursuit of Dr. Doom and his forces, and whatever evil, nasty things they've done to Odin. The game, is highly suggested that we're going to either fail or not get there in time, or something of that nature. And I hate these little combo things. But at the same time that that's the case, you also end up, well, you just fell over, getting closer and closer to, in this case, Ravenspire, that place of magical goodness where Dr. Doom could attempt to do something with all this power that he's ripping from Odin. Yeah, I get really, really tired of these guys that require combo moves in order to finish them off. So,
Needs an attitude adjustment. And I thought you might be a child.
fortunately,
This cannot happen.
they're not invincible when that scenario happens. You can sort of chip damage them a little bit and do things that way, so they will eventually go down, but it will be kind of annoying. So obviously, since it's July now, Avengers Infinity War has been out. I think it's mentioned seeing that in the last video. And of course the sequels involving characters who are seemingly dead have also already been more or less announced. Spider-Man Far From Home is looking like it's going to be a thing. And I don't know what exactly they're planning to do there, other than obviously they're continuing to build this idea of a Sinister Six. Whether or not it's going to be the Sinister Six or something similar. But they seemingly have gotten Jake Gyllenhaal to be the new Mysterio. Of course, I say new. There hadn't been any other Mysterios unless you've been playing video games, in which case David Kaye is the only Mysterio that you probably are really familiar with. I don't remember who voices Mysterio in this game, but the title of Spider-Man Far From Home, it suggested that perhaps he's going to be traveling somewhere, probably not off-planet, although it's not impossible. Thinking more like maybe Europe. But the Far From Home title could have many different implications, and it could even be the point where they decide to bring Venom into the Spider-Man story, or at least the Venom symbiote into the Spider-Man story. Although, of course, that would necessitate bringing Venom himself in, because I'm pretty sure that we're not going to have that the Venom movie is going to introduce a symbiote as if it's the first time that we've had to deal with such a thing. And it also seems like the Venom movie is going with a Earth-based origin for the symbiote. I know I've sort of covered this ground before. But I think that, Spider-Man Far From Home, although it'd be giving it a lot of work to do, and Spider-Man movies usually run into problems when they get overwhelmed with things that they're trying to do. There's a chance that the Venom suit could be part of the story or a side venture, or it could be too early. Sony might be waiting to see what happens with the Venom movie itself, whether or not Venom is going to get his own sort of movie trilogy or perhaps a duology of his own. Because if, you know, the movie flops, then they may try to fold Venom into the Spider-Man movies faster as a way to try to make money off the character. But if the Venom movie does fairly well, then they may decide that, you know, they're okay with another independent Venom run in a movie. I don't know how well that's going to work, because there seems to be some heavy vibes in the Venom movie from what we've seen in the trailers, coming from the comic book series, like The Birth of Carnage, and also possibly some hints of separation anxiety. We might get some of those storylines kind of thrown in, particularly if we're just making symbiotes. But we have we found. Aha!
Loki and Doom leave us behind. I'll not stand for it.
This is not an unforeseen outcome. They now each get what they desire without having to share the spoils with us.
So Doom and Loki have betrayed Ultron and Mordo, keeping them away from sharing in the Odin powers. Now, what we know is that Doom actually isn't. Doom's probably not going to do the Odin. Want to share Odin's power with anyone anyway. And you know that Loki is tricky enough to have his own plan. We've already defeated the Enchantress, who was the other member of the Masters of Evil. So here we see that
How did you get here?
they're trying to find their way through this little trap here that by causing a dark elf to go to his death. And now we're simply going to fight Ultron and Baron Mordo, you know, right now. I don't know how useful this fight is, really, because Mordo and Ultron understand they've been betrayed, and being that as it is, you would think that, okay, well, then maybe teaming up with us wouldn't be a bad idea, at least temporarily, before they could, then betray us later. But no, we're going to beat the crap out of them, and that's going to be it. And even though the lady who said we were doomed, she was nice enough to give us her ring, and that ring is nice enough to tell us that we just need to lift up the third Odin spear to get through that door here. Can't hurt us to top off or to save real quick. Okay, and again, you're looking for the one that is blinking. Alright, and now, even though we're not showing any visible signs of carrying it, we've gotten rid of Loki's magical barrier, and we can now pursue.
My. What an unexpected surprise. But don't you know, it's not safe up here on Raven's Peak. At least not for the likes of you. Sorry, but I'm not exactly sure what's happened to Daddy Dearest. You see, Dr. Doom has
So,
him. I seek to
and we
take
go from
control
one
of the
boss fight
destroyer
into
army,
another.
but I require 4 god swords to free it from its prison of ice. It is a magical
And this is
shell
interesting
created
because
by
Loki
Odin.
tells you
The
exactly
wearer's
what he's going to
consciousness is fully
do.
inside, leaving their body outside.
And the
in a
point reason he
frozen
does this
state.
is that so you will try to
Destroyer
stop him.
armor is so powerful that even the mighty Thor cannot.
Because he's not particularly in a strong negotiating point here.
But know this,
He can't
I
beat you
will
on his
possess the
own.
destroyer armor.
There's no one he can really call upon to do that, because Dr. Doom is off somewhere with Odin. Right. So there we go, starting the Loki fight. Again, it's probably the best reason to save after the previous fight with Ultron and Mordo, simply because you run right into this fight. And if you give Loki time, he'll summon ice giants and other things to his aid. The destroyer armor that he's been talking about is right there in the ice crystal in the middle. So he was nice enough to at least be right where it is, so you can find it easier. Because we don't know what Dr. Doom is up to, and we might need a strong artifact that could potentially bring him down. And I'm not really certain that we've got that. Alright, well, that was Loki.
No. Any knowledge you gain would be helpful. All right, Fury out.
Alright, and evidently everybody in Asgard's just going to be so willing to help us find this unstoppable destroyer armor and the 4 swords needed to create it. So now we're back in Valhalla. But there's something very different about Valhalla. You'll notice that no one else is there. That shouldn't make any sense. Remember, Valhalla exists as a resting place for the heroic dead, so that when Ragnarok comes at the end of days, they can be summoned to fight the final battle. So if they're not here, that should mean that the sign that they're off to fight the final battle is already occurring. And you'll note that we can't leave or go anywhere interesting. So each of these areas now that we're going to be going through to find the swords is a puzzle room. And what that should have, me falling through the floor should have told you, is that the symbols are safe, but the normal wood paneling is not. And you'll notice that I didn't necessarily learn that lesson very well the first time. But once you get to the other side, you can pick up this gigantic sword key thing. And this brings us to number 2. And number 2, we have to climb this ice cliff. Now there are parts of the cliff you can climb. The main problem with the cliff are these wind gusts that come through it. because they will push you all the way to the bottom of the cliff, and you'll have to redo the whole thing from the beginning. If you take a flying character, you can avoid the problems of falling down the little shaft there, although it can be jumped. It's not a huge difference. But the fact that we're playing Miss Marvel right now is probably not the worst idea in the world. Although I think I did this with the Black Panther in my second playthrough. And did fine. So, I mean, having flying capabilities is not absolutely necessary for this. Alright, and we got through, and there's the second sword. Alright, so now we just need 2 more. So we're going to go through another portal here, and so looking for that baby. Where is it? There it is. Okay. So here we need to step on enough panels to open the door. Alright, and then our 4th teammate, in this case Venom, can go and retrieve the sword. And that was pretty simple. Again, the puzzles here, they're not trying to stress you out by any imagination. The toughest puzzle is probably the one that we've got left to do. Assuming we find a door. I mean a portal. It takes us out there. You know, so we can do the things with the people. Alright, so here's the dancing sword. As you approach the sword, it will move away, and then when it hits a portal, it will reset. So what you actually want to do is you want to move the sword in such a way that it can't go anywhere so you can retrieve it. So you can't bounce it toward portals like this, because that's not going to do it not going to do you any good. So there's a portal over here. So you want to find where there's no portal, where the door is. Okay, see, we've already messed up here. We're bouncing it toward a portal. Alright. So what we need to do is go around the side here and then send it up toward the door. Okay. Okay, for some reason it went to the right. Now, that's not where I thought I was going, but whatever. I'm pretty sure what I'm telling you is right here. You know, I think I've played this game through 3 times. This is footage from the very first time that I played, and you can see that, yeah, we're still not quite pointed in the right direction for the sword here. And again, I don't know why it's leaping this direction. Okay, I'm right on. Okay. This is getting just a tad frustrating here. Okay, let's try to pick a portal that's going to get us pointed directly where we want to be. So we want to be coming out of this portal. Oh, okay. Don't ask me how that worked. I have no idea why we just all of a sudden succeeded. But now we've got the 4 swords, and we can summon the destroyer armor.
You did an excellent job.
Thank you for doing
And
what I could never have accomplished.
Fury thanks us for doing a great job, except it was really low-key.
The deception.
Surprise, surprise, this false Valhalla
You're in a land of
wasn't actually the real thing.
I will take possession of the destroyer armor and crush the life from you.
And then, now we get to learn some interesting lore about the destroyer armor. Yeah, it's basically invulnerable, so attacking the armor itself really doesn't gonna get you anywhere. And you see you have a time limit, which we're wasting by taking on trolls. But the armor works by imprisoning its user in some sort of stasis, while it, so that they're basically in possession of the armor. They can't really control themselves. So what we need to do is find out where Loki is hidden, and then destroy Loki from there, while the armor kind of follows us around. Because, see, just kind of sitting there waiting for us. Okay, I feel like we're running in circles now. So we go. Well, I don't think we can go back out the way we came. Taking about half the time that we get to figure this out. So this could be defeat here. I'm not thinking this is going very well for us. It's got to be a different portal. Where okay, you see him frozen in this carapace here. Okay, you can see that we can't actually affect that. However, there is at least one item in this room that's powerful enough to do that. And that is the destroyer armor itself, which evidently isn't smart enough not to attack the person of whose soul has possessed it. So, you get him to... You get the destroyer armor to basically step on Loki, or attack close to it, and it succeeded in breaking him out. And now we've successfully grabbed, Nornstones off of Loki's corpse, but that's not the point. We've successfully defeated Loki, so there's only one schemer left to deal with, and that is